You should be seeing my screen now.
Yes, everything fine.
Lovely, thank you.
Very much welcome. Nice to have you.
Great to be here. Thank you. I'm Jaroslav Bláha, the CIO, CTO of Trivago for the last 2 months. So I started 1 March actually, sitting physically in Düsseldorf in Germany. The last 9 months before that, I've been a CIO of Payback, which was also a data-heavy company. And in parallel, I've also had a small artificial intelligence company. And in that, I can underline what Ragnar said 2 sessions ago from the Hamburg ecosystem. So great to be here. And I want to tell you a little bit about Trivago and what we are doing there, and going a little bit probably more into the technical space of what happens there. So many of you, I hope, know Trivago already, at least from the slogan Hotel Trivago. I cannot sing that very well. Trivago is probably the biggest hotel search platform worldwide. Created 2005, headquarters, as I said, in Düsseldorf. We are publicly traded in the US. And we are basically the hub between about 5 million hotels, which offer, of course, their accommodation services. About 120 million monthly travelers who look up hotels and to a large degree book hotels through our platform. And of course, advertisers, hotel chains, and about 120 online travel agencies like Expedia, for example, which are also marketing and selling accommodations around the globe. To do that really on a global level, we have about 53 localized websites and apps running across 190 countries and 31 languages. That these numbers sound somewhat abstract. To put it into perspective, basically, we can reach 90% of the global online users in their native language. So that's quite a lot. And for that, we are, as I said, sitting in between and offer in almost real-time access to hotel prices and availability to every traveler worldwide. Again, putting that into perspective, the biggest airport or the busiest airport worldwide is Atlanta, with about 75 million travelers per month. Of course, physically, we serve twice as many travelers virtually, I admit, every month. So that's a quite high ratio. How are we doing that? Well, Tobias before said already some things which I'm kind of repeating or at least sympathizing with. For the moment, we have a massive own operated Hadoop platform to do that. And massive means, and that's the status of mid of last year, it's about 200 nodes, which we operate ourselves with 30,000 tables. So that's already quite a spectrum, and 1,000 coordinators which are running on these nodes just to provide data. And you see below the number of daily movements across this platform. So 10 terabyte of data, which is certainly a little bit less than BMW is collecting. But we have a massive amount of jobs every day we are running to, for example, get the data out of the hotels, so the price and availability data. Of course, each hotel or each hotel chain uses their own format, so we have to take those data, we have to translate them into a common format. And the same happens then on the other side to the travelers who want to look up information in their language, in their local context. And we have to, again, control those data streams. Of course, along the way, we are recording all those data to do all kinds of analytics. So we have about 8,000 Hive scripts. So Hive is an SQL abstraction to Hadoop. Those scripts which we run every day in about 5,000 workflows. And for that, we spin up about 10,000 yarn containers. So processing spaces which do something every single day to provide the data to the travelers effectively in real time. All those data, and this is the beauty of it, and certainly that was already here before my time, the beauty of it, that all data are already structured, typically in a structure which is called protocol buffer, which allows a very lightweight structuring and analysis of data. So for all the data, we have schema, and whatever we do, we can query it through SQL and similar mechanisms, which also means that all the business users have a fairly easy chance to analyze those data with various BI and analytics tools whenever they need some information. So not only the techies can work with those data, but really the business and marketing colleagues as well. And what I learned here is the unvalue of a data lake. So some years ago, I worked for a company and we were very, very happy that we had a data lake where we could dump and throw in every kind of data and kind of throw them into this black hole because almost nobody knew how to access those data and how to bring them together. So I believe by now, this is an extremely bad idea to build data lakes. We consider ourselves rather as a big database, and because everything is structured and available through schema, we can actually really use those data very efficiently. So who today would actually want to run data lake? I don't see that anymore. What also is the big advantage, we have fairly few data which are personalized, so GDPR compliant. But even those data, if we, for example, have deletion requests, because these data are controlled through schema, we can very easily identify those and, for example, be GDPR compliant and reuse data on request, remove data on request if needed. So that's the current situation, and the current situation is not very attractive to me, honestly, because Hadoop is old technology, already 17 years old. So our future is in the cloud. And we have started a project, a massive project to migrate our entire platform with all the scripts, all the storage and everything into the Google Cloud. We already have all ingestion and output from our data through Kafka pipelines. So it's fairly simple, logically at least, to reroute those Kafka pipelines from our Hadoop platform to the upcoming GCP platform. Of course, the transfer of the data, we have about 22 petabytes of data, which we play around every day for various thousands of analytics. To move those into the Google Cloud, that's also simply a volume problem, and to rebuild all the analytics and transformation programs we have there. So this is currently in progress. It will take several months or quarters, actually, obviously, because it's a massive project. But for the moment, we plan to complete this early next year. And then we will have our entire cloud platform fully functional with all the data. And as part of this process, we are also planning to increase our artificial intelligence capabilities. You see the Vertex icon here. So we will have enhanced capabilities for all the employees actually to spin up AI functionality and do enhanced functions on those massive data amounts which we have there. The reasons for that, for this transformation, are fairly simple. Again, as I said, we want to participate in the technology evolution. Hadoop ecosystem is getting old by now, and cloud offers more more options. But also we want, of course, to have scalability. Business is growing, the number of employees and colleagues is growing, the number of hotels is growing. So we want to have the elasticity and a few other features as listed here to participate of the growth. What actually do we want to do? So I just a few snippets kind of to close this talk, few snippets of ideas we have in the area of ML and artificial intelligence. We are doing a lot already. We are growing our AI team, but there are many things we can do now. For example, on a pure system level, we have massive caches, for example, to provide all those hotel data in almost real time to the users. And the question is really how to populate those caches, how to make them dirty, what cache to provide to which user or to which hotel chain at which time. This is something which currently is running by heuristics, and we've certainly find machine learning algorithms to optimize that, to again save resources. Crawler and bot detection is a big problem for us. So again, that's a typical task for machine learning algorithms to save us from crawlers. But also on the product side, there's a lot we can do with these data which we were preparing. For example, pricing strategies for hotels. Hotels are of course interested how to adapt their prices for the next season, for when the next pandemic come, for the next holiday or whatever. And with our data, we can of course analyze it and make predictions. Same in the area of occupancy. This is a very valuable service for the hotels, of course. But there are also simple cases which I have learned in my short time here are very interesting and algorithmically fairly complex to, for example, match hotels to each other. Hotels change all the time their name, their location when the GPS coordinates are updated, when streets are renamed, when the hotels are refurbished. And sometimes it's really a challenging problem to find out which hotel does the user actually mean, and is the hotel really still in the same place. And we have also interesting applications in the area of image analysis, which is kind of my home turf from my previous startup. For example, to analyze images and find out which images are really representative also of a hotel. Is a blue rectangle on the image? Is there a window like on this example, which you can see on the left, or is it a swing to pool, etc.?
Good. Okay, good. Thank you very much for your presentation. Let me ask you a question. You described trivago as a hotel search platform. I would rather say it's a hotel aggregator. Is it the same?
Well, we consider ourselves indeed as a meta search platform. So we are a search engine which collects and aggregates all the information across the hotel ecosystem, or hotels and alternative accommodations, which can be bed and breakfast or apartments to some degree and some other stuff. But yes, we are a meta search engine combining the hotel proposals and the users as the consumers with the online travel agencies.
And there was a quite surprising moment during your presentation when you mentioned that all data is structured. This is something, I mean, the majority of the companies are struggling with unstructured data. How have you achieved this result?
Yeah, that's difficult for me to say, because I'm not very historic in the company. So I'm in my time in those 2 months, I just recognized that supposedly my predecessors have done a very, very good job and have put a lot of thought into the engineering of the interfaces for incoming and outgoing data, and have already at that time defined schema to structure those data so that we can then transform them, harmonize them across multiple hotel chains, etc., and then also analyze them very, very simply. So that's just my predecessors did a very good job.
And a very last question, I'm wondering, as a meta search platform, do you need to have your own customer base? Because even if I see the models you are listing, right, like pricing strategies, occupancy, this is not user-centric, right? This is rather product-centric. That's why, again, the question, is there any necessity to have your own customer base?
Yes, there's a necessity for that. And we have a very stable customer base of registered users. So you can use us, of course, without registration, but then you get a limited intelligence out of the system, let's say. But we also have plenty of registered users for which we have, of course, historical data, profiles, and a little bit more information. And for those users, we can do, for example, something which is a fairly new product in the area of complex travel planning. When we, for example, know their preferences, we can now offer them, for example, weekend packages. It's a product we called weekend.com, where we know what a user typically does on a weekend, and then we can make them active proposals and say, okay, you've been skiing in the Alps last weekend, why don't you go skiing in the Pyrenees next weekend, and we can offer you a hotel and flight, something like that. So that's added value for registered and known users.
Thank you very much. And I'm again so sorry for skipping you. It was not on purpose.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Bye. 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 Have a nice day.